Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's I'm David Moss, and we're talking Stonex 3D today. Give a moment for everybody to join. I always like to ask where you guys are all from. So if you can take a moment and tell me where you're coming from, I always very much enjoy that. Get a kick out of that. So we'll let people come in. Again, feel free throughout all this to ask any questions, and we'll give the people um, and there'll be a Q&A at the end, and we'll keep on going. But so nice to see you all. Can't wait, and let's start on here, and we'll get going here in a second. Oh, got it. New Jersey. Thanks for showing up. Raleigh, North Carolina. I was just in Raleigh last week. Another Raleigh. Wow, Raleigh's another North Carolina. That's funny. I guess it is a little bit early here on the West Coast. I'm from Tacoma, Washington, a little south of Seattle. We got South Carolina, San Antonio. We got Pat out in Kansas City. Hey, Pat, nice to see you. Rich, you got to give pride to Chehalis, Washington. Nothing wrong with that, but awesome to see you. Another one of our proud distributors like Pat, Mike Powers, Kansas City, Da Vinci Solutions. We appreciate you coming. Stonex, we'll learn more in this presentation, primarily works through our dealer channels. So I work all across North America, um, I should say United States and in Canada. We got Pittsburgh, Marietta, West Palm Beach. We're getting a great so all around pretty much West Coast. And we got that another one of our proud distributors, Benchmark Tool, which I have a photo with in a second. We got the whole Da Vinci team here. Thank you for coming, Josh. It was a pleasure to see you. You're gonna be in there, get into that. But so there's Josh and I there on the left. Just a little bit more about myself, but thanks for showing up, Josh. But again, I'm David Moss with Stonex. Been in this industry in the 3D specifically for 5 years, but I got my start as a distributor. We were selling underground utility locators, and then eventually that got to be where people wanted to survey that. So once they found the stuff underground, they wanted to, use GNSS total stations and such, and that's when we started to sell Stonex ourselves. So that's kind of where my journey began, late 2019, early 2020, right before COVID with Stonex. So working from there, and going on there. So you can see me again last week with Josh, or that was in Raleigh, North Carolina, but I'm out using the Slam and kind of a fun Chat GPT image generation myself, and then of course, like your photo, what do you call it, photo from a couple years back, using the GNSS myself. So long history. I've been with Stonex since pretty much about the start of the year, and I'm proud to talk about the 3D solutions today. Um, and we got a Miami, St. Louis, so we're all around. Appreciate you all coming. Again, if you guys have any questions throughout this, please don't hesitate to stop me, and we'll keep going. If you have any questions one-on-one, too afraid to ask in the chat. More than happy to do any kind of one-on-one demonstration as well. Send you the way to one of our closest distributors to you, but we're happy to do that. So we're talking about hardware today. We do have a Cube 3D specific webinar that I will be doing on StoneX's channel. So if you go to StoneX's LinkedIn page, there's a bunch of info about that. It's about the newest version of Cube 3D and what Cube 3D can do for you. So change this to more hardware specific. We can certainly ask any questions, but probably go on that front for all things StoneX 3D. But from StoneX in general, a steam survey company, we do all things survey, GNSS, total station, Coors software. We have a brand new version of our Cube A software survey software that's awesome. Half second, single second robots, mechanical total stations. I mean, Coors, and then biggest here in America is machine control. So we have 1D, 2D, 3D solutions. But when we have dealers all across America, Canada, and of course all across the world, Stonex is an Italian company. We have distributors all across the world. If you're, not United States or Canada, more, the same product supply, of course, but we can get you in touch with someone close to you anywhere across the globe, basically. So we're talking about mobile scanning. That's Stonex 3D in a nutshell. So our main talk will be on the 4 SLAM scanners that we offer. We also have a 5th kind of SLAM scanner we'll talk about here, which is a pretty exciting solution, photogrammetry based, and then we'll talk about our TLS scanner as well. So, but again, anybody that's coming in, feel free to ask any questions. We can deep dive through anything. But appreciate you all coming up. You make me laugh, Rich. Um, so, well, cool. And I will shut myself off so you can see that. So again, we're talking mobile scanners. Saving time is the name of the game. So the way I like to think about this is not even comparing mobile versus terrestrial scanner, tripod based, which mobile of course a lot faster, but just for people adopting this technology for the first time, I would like my kind of easiest example to explain would be you want to measure out a single family home. Say you're an architectural firm. You just want to make a floor plan. We're doing TD work, not even 3D, but just something basic like, scanning that, you gotta, use your tape measure every single angle. You gotta, you're doing it by hand. Just a regular 3,000 square foot house would take, multiple people, a very long time compared to, using a mobile SLAM scanner. It's, as long as it, basically the time it does to take a walkthrough of the site, 5-10 minutes, and you can have every single measurement, every single there, just not the ones you're not going to miss anything. These lasers are shooting out in 360 degrees. You're getting so much coverage. But of course, too, just people that are, jumped into laser scanning, LiDAR before, mobile scanning kind of had its rise and kind of overtaken the market more and more. I mean, every single setup would be, multiple minutes long. You're doing that, you're getting, a little higher resolution data, but for most people, not a deal breaker for what SLAMs are able to produce today. But so time is money. That's a huge one. I mean, and just there's areas that you can't walk around that much. A prime example of that would be like an underground mine, even, well controlled and say, just anywhere that accident reconstruction. That's a huge one. Public safety, you only have so much time to scan an area in certain instances, or you almost, if you're getting contracted out to scan a warehouse or say like a auto manufacturing facility or anything, they're shutting down just for you to scan. If you're going to use a tripod scanner, of course, measured by hand, that would take forever. You can walk around with a slam and get out the door much, much quicker and do just the work on the computer, which pretty much you're all doing just in the background. So again, mobile, name of the game. We'll go back to that slide in a second, but we're proud for Slam Solutions. Our new flagship is the X200 Go there on the left. We'll deep dive on all these. But again, if it seems like some more people just coming in. Again, if you have any questions throughout, don't hesitate to stop me, and we'll keep going on there. Appreciate you all coming. So, what's very important about Stonex? The number one thing I like to talk about, most importantly, is total cost of ownership. Our our solutions are very, very, very price competitive, super attractive, like the rest of our solutions. But not only that, but with our 4 SLAM scanners, we give you perpetual software to process that includes updates. That's pretty unheard of in this industry at this point. So it's not only there, but a great price for the hardware. There's a lot of great prices for that, but it's something to really look at when you're shopping for a mobile scanner is how much it's going to cost you year after year after year. The StoneX, it's just the one cost up front. You can produce your point cloud. There's some solutions out there that they're low when you get the scanner, but every single time you use it, even when you're first practicing or you mess up or just something goes wrong, every single time you scan, it costs you money, or just, the yearly subscription model that we all hate for all of our services. Not a thing with StoneX, just, comes with it, perpetual coming on there. Another one of our distributors. Thanks for coming, Chris. Montreal, and we even have some more Canada as well. So appreciate you guys coming. So again, I can't stress enough, that's a very, very nice, unique thing. But and then from there, free software alone, it's a fantastic software. We have a very strong algorithm. I'm proud to say we can hold our own against anybody that you're trying out. I would encourage you, you're shopping for a mobile scanner, we're more than happy to come out on site, give you a free demo, compare it to what you're using, compare it to the other SLAM solutions. But we're super proud of that. We can hold our own. We're super versatile. We'll talk about more, but I mean, we have so many different configurations for it. It's not just the handheld unit. They're all very compact. And there, I got to go back to just myself, but the 200, the blur will take it on there, but you'll see the photos here in a second. But it's just all in one. The battery's all in one. There's one, some on the market, some of the biggest players where you have to wear a little computer and what do you call it, battery pack on you, or a big 20-pound wearable. It's just the single thing you can hold, just weighs a couple pounds. Nothing to it, all in one. Our storage is on board on there. Super crazy nice and extremely easy to use. Can't stress that enough. A SLAM scanner, you don't need to be a trained surveyor or anything. Like you can train any guy on your crew to use this equipment, and within an hour they're awesome at it. You're just walking around and pointing at it, starting and stopping in the same place. There's a little bit more to that, but I mean, there's compared to using like a total station GNSS, I mean it's by far the easiest. You can just get an app on your iPhone or Android. We support both, but I mean, extremely easy. We'll talk more about that in a bit. But there are 4 scanners. Again, so our middle two more indoor focused. We'll go into there. And again, once again, I'm going to say it a couple times, but Cube 3D webinar I'll be doing on the Stonex channel. If you want to join, the info is on Stonex's page, or stonex.it is the website for Stonex, but we have that webinar coming up. That'll be our focus on the software, more hardware today. But again, feel free to ask any questions. But again, 40, so X40, 70-meter range. So we have an X70, 70-meter range. So the names don't necessarily mean the distance. So apologies for that. But 200,000 points a second. This one's extremely, extremely light. Our lightest, simplest, easy to use, must weigh only 2 pounds. Colorized point clouds, built-in SSD. The battery, the handle is the battery. All of our units have the little ground control base, so you can tie in any kind of total station or GNSS shots, which is a pretty cool feature. Really, really tied in the control, and not only reference your point cloud, which is cool, but you can also do what's called a non-rigid adjustment. So it actually reworks. Say you had 10 total station shots all across. So you have those shots. You can actually re-put them in and say, I know exactly where these are, and then it'll redo it and improve your whole algorithm there. So pretty exciting. All of our scanners support that, but I can't preach enough about how cool of a feature that is. You don't, necessarily need RTK on board. There is an advantage of that, which we'll talk about, but on there, and of course, for indoor scanning, a little different. 200,000 a second. So this is our entry level. Starts at $18,000, which is very, very attractive. When I first started selling these things, over 5 years ago, the cheapest, which was 43,000 points per second, was in the $40,000 range. With a $3,000 dollar a year subscription software. So I mean, they're in 5 years, they've entry level has dropped in half, and they're just better performing. It's as simple as that. So I mean, at that point, 43,000, that didn't even come with the camera. Wearables, very, very low density, and like only like 30 meters range basically usable. So they're getting much better. If you tried one out a couple years ago, I mean, just like any kind of tech, this is rapidly expanding and increasing by the day. So super important on there. So relative, so like local accuracy, like they call it, say, definitely, and global, definitely under sub-tenths of a foot, up to 2 centimeters. It's a little, we're very conservative on that. You have people that are, can be preaching with a SLAM solution of any cost, anything that can claim half a centimeter. I wouldn't call that realistic from anything you're trying out, but proud to say like great solution, sub-tenths of a foot, easy to get. Of course, can get more tiny limit control and the other stuff, but centimeter level accurate solution, no doubt about it, from all our solutions. So all of our units have Wi-Fi. You can use them with the app. Makes it really easy to use. I mean, 1.16 kg, like I said, so a little over 2 pounds. Um, they're awesome. All of our scanners, 512 gigs on board, and that's probably 500 scans. I shouldn't say that. I mean, several hundred. Um, so you're awesome on there. We'll go to 70. So 40 and 70 look very similar. The 40 is a fixed head solution. The rest of our three are rotating. So the X70 rotates on there. So the difference between the 40 and the 70, same laser. There's two, I guess three differences. One, the head rotates in 360 degrees, so you get a little more, easier coverage. It's spinning all around. It's kind of nice. Like on this one, I think is pretty unique, pretty where you can put it a little bit over your head, and then it's going constant 360 all the time. All these scanners like the 40, 120, basically everything on the market, you're all constantly scanning yourself. All these scanners know how to take that out of the equation. But on the 70, very unique, and put it over your head, and constantly getting 360. So same 200,000 points a second, but that's really nice. We also have a second camera for the visual SLAM, so it has two cameras just to help the algorithm itself. If you're in a SLAM environment, very dark, there's you can still use the solution, but it can enhance the algorithm a little more. On there, same color camera. The 70 starts to get into where we can support our RTK module and a couple more accessories than the 40 are entry level on there. So from there, let's go next slide. Same thing, same head, but very unique in the sense of you can stick it over your head. We have also what's called the X-Wiz mode, which is awesome. You can basically do a stationary scan up to 80 seconds long. Provides much denser point cloud. You can have that as a static file, higher resolution data. I wouldn't necessarily say it like groundbreaking accuracy difference, but if you need really enhanced color of one facade of a building or one entrance or anything, you can set it down for that. We have a tripod accessory that comes with the kit. That's really cool. We'll show that more in a second. But so 70 rotates around, has the 360, 60. It has the second camera, and it can do the X-Wiz, which further enhances the color and resolution or density, I should say. So same LiDAR, it's a LiveVox Mid 360. It's also very important. I can't stress enough about just the SLAM algorithm itself. There's all these things, pretty much use the LiveVox or Husai sensor. That's, hardware is not unique. I mean, there's things like IMUs and some other stuff, but that are important, but it's all about the algorithm. You can have the greatest hardware in the world, but if you don't, have an algorithm, strong algorithm, go bit that's going to work in all the environments you need it to, it's not worth anything. Hardware is nice, things like better cameras and stuff, and more density and all that, but again, it can start if you just have fancy hardware, you don't have something to back up with it on the software side. It really doesn't matter. We're really proud on both of our fronts, hardware and software. And so on there. So I would say again to recap, 40, 70, all both 70 meters of range, 200,000 points of light per second, which is an absolute ton. But in the grand schemes of these things, it is kind of low density. So with that in the distance, more like to say these are more, short range, more indoor scanners, a little less versatile. Of course, in 70, we can do the RTK, but then we go into our 120. This features a Husai 16 channel XT16 sensor. So 120 meter range. So going from, and then we go up, bump up from 200,000 points per second to 320,000. So we're really getting there. Another huge, you're almost doubling it. 360 coverage, so 360 by 270. We have three different cameras that are also doing, so when you're continuously walking around, you can also get 270 degree panoramic photos, which you can reference and use as well. So on these other ones, we'll talk about geotags and some other stuff, but it's just, the kind of colorized cloud. But built in on 120, you have 270 degree, you can get, pano photos. Really cool. 120 starts to get more versatile. 70, we have backpack mount. We'll go over the accessories here in a little bit, but 120 you can also put on a vehicle. The density and the range is there more from our outdoor scans. We start, talking about forestry work. You want do all the breast height, tree surveys, anything on that front. I mean, more outdoor, topographic surveys, ADA ramp surveys. I mean, the list is continuous on what you can use these things for. Anything you're using, survey equipment, and you want to just capture faster, mobile mobile solutions perfect for that. Um, so we start to get more in there. Again, 120 as well, like the rest, has the ground control base, um, lithium batteries. So in there, with 15 megapixels with the cameras combined, same accuracy. Again, all about the software more than the hardware. A little bit heavier, and this one does use an SD card rather than internal storage. It came out a little earlier than the rest of ours, but awesome, great solution. And then we get back to our flagship. We got X200. So here the blur is really bad today. Turn that off. So all in one, this does include a built-in RTK GNSS receiver, survey grade, very unique in this industry. Only a slight couple. I can only think of one off the top of my head actually comes with it. So built in, outdoor, at least 50% of your scan is outdoor and fixed. You can have a geo reference point cloud just straight built into the unit right off the board. We go from 15 megapixels to 24 megapixel and go from 270 degree to 360 degree images. The X120 does not have the XWIZ mode like the 70 does, but the 200 definitely does. So our best colorization, best cameras, built-in panoramic imaging. The X200 can also go on a drone, which is, close to pretty unique. There's, that's very rare in a SLAM scanner. So, we can go handheld, we can go backpack, vehicle, you can, not even vehicle, but like, what do you call it? Like ATVs, side by sides, anything in that world. And you can put it on a DJI Matrice 300 or 350 drone. So the most popular enterprise drone. 1000% support that. GCPs on there. So fantastic. And this features a Hesai XT32 M2X. So we go from 320,000 a second to 640,000 a second. We go from 120,000 or 320,000 points a second to 640,000. And when you're on a drone, you can use all three returns. You get, really close to 2 million points a second, insane density. Even the 640,000 in absolutely insane density. But 300 meters of range. So that's cool. Like, like in a tree survey, like you're capturing so much data. But what I really like for that is the longer the range, the more the algorithm has to work with. So, if you're just shooting out so much further, why I'd like to say that, that X40 and the X70 are more indoor scanners, comparing that to the X200 is, SLAM scanners work on, picking up features, basically, unique geometry. And if you're shooting out that far, 300 meters, it just has so many things to stitch onto and lock in the algorithm even more, that it just really enhances things. Love that. All of our products, class one eye safe laser. Nothing on there is not going to ruin your, your, what do you call it, ruin your phone camera, your eyeballs, nothing like that. Different wavelengths. I say that there's a new Volvo 3-row electric SUV that has a LiDAR sensor on it that can actually fry your camera, which I'm having some questions about that. So, all good. Use these different wavelengths, still LiDAR, but different. But again, it's just enough class one eye safe laser all around the board. Same kind of accuracy. I'd say the best, best accuracy, best density. Our best overall solution is our flagship, the X200. That does drop a little bit on a drone just from the nature of SLAM being in the air. This is a better photo of our solution with the little antenna spot for the antenna you can see. All of our units, have built-in batteries. They're pretty affordable, as well. The handles, but they all work for about 90 minutes, 2 hours. But you can keep swapping them out. They all charge on USB Type C, which is very cool, very easy. You can just plug it into the truck, plug it into your power bank, and you can keep on going. You don't probably need more than two batteries. There's nothing crazy, and again, you can use your same phone charger, which is great. Uh, from there, and all these, like, they're definitely all rain proof. They're not, with any surveillance, they're not really drop proof, but the nature of any LiDAR scanner, if you get water on the sensor, it just kind of absorbs the signal. Doesn't work. But if you get caught in a rainstorm or anything, like, all our products are IP IP54, you're not going to get any issues out there. So, again, built-in RTK GNSS, fantastic, awesome, and the panoramic images, super super cool. And we even have like a better antenna when you're using the backpack configuration. All of our units have real-time preview, real-time colorization. You can see that and in 2D and 3D, which is really cool. So you see your trajectory, you see what you scanned, you can make sure it's all good before you leave. You got everything that you needed. Um, on our 200, you can get a colored solution, colored reference solution right out of the gate. You just take it right off, no post-processing needed. Of course, the post-processing is going to do more of the global slam and do some filtering and optimization and things like that. But if you want something in the field, just want some quick and dirty, see what you got. You literally just leave it on for another minute or two and make a beep. You can pull data off right there. You have a point cloud right there in the field. Super, super sweet on there. Again, XWIZ mode, really cool. Stationary scans. Anytime you want higher resolution, more density. I mean, it's 640,000 points a second. Not as much, but just anytime we can get better colorization, why not take it? UAV. So I mean, again, I can't stress the versatility. These things are getting so cool. So drone, vehicle, handheld, backpack. On the tripod. Walking around. Getting lighter, better by the day. Um, Another fantastic. So most of the survey world, runs on Android. I say pretty much all our solutions are Android based, but what's unique and what stands out in a 3D space is all of them work with iOS. So you can download it on your iPhone. You get to use the app preview on there. You don't need to use a sophisticated data logger. Nothing in that world. Nothing special there. We're not, getting you to buy a big, survey controller or anything. You can just literally use the ones that are on your phone. Um, so that's cool. Free of charge, of course, no subscription to anything in the 3D world. Our post-processing software is called GoPost. Most everything, like making your cloud, everything, even with referencing with the RTK, it's called our one-click solution. You just basically load in the data, and then one click, you say you want color, you don't want color. We have moving object filters. So moving cars to go by, moving people. We'll filter that out, some other things, but essentially for all intents and purposes, that it's extremely easy. I mean, to get the unit processing, I mean, you upload the data, the SSD, the file takes 20 seconds to get off. They're manageable file sizes. You put it in there, and you can be processing within 2 or 3 minutes. It processes in the background. It's not labor intensive. It's not crazy computer intensive. Obviously, the better the computer you have, but like, I did some scans at X40 that we'll see in a second, and to get like a raw, unfiltered, no color point cloud, just to get something, and you want post is, for every minute you scan is probably 2 minutes processing, even one-to-one on a great computer. So in there, but we have great things. You can tie into the checkpoints. We have the ground control bases. We have you can see the panoramic images, the geotags. We'll talk more about that. The non-rigid adjustments tying into survey control. So not only referencing your point cloud but enhancing it. So perfect solution. So Are all the three scanners, the 40, the 70, and the 120, they all support the Insta360 lineup of cameras, or I should say the X4 and the X5. I know they have different models and stuff, but the X5 we supported right off the bat, right as it dropped. It's only about a week or two old. We also support the X4. So with our mount and with the camera, that's about $1,000 upgrade, but really enhance your color one and get 360 panos that you can reference as well, and you can do that all within GoPost. I wouldn't call this a post processing software. This gets you a clean, beautiful workable point cloud that you would put into a Cube 3D or into any solution you may be using, Trumbull Business Center, Recap, anything that you're using, like a Cyclone. All our solutions can work with any software. Just putting out, LAS, LAZ, E57. Our solutions can work with any software. But really cool on there. And again, this software is free, 100% included, perpetual license off the gate. Your local process as well. There is some cloud only solutions out there. So, it's very secure, cloud or local, I should say. You own all the data. You're not storing in the cloud. Like it's all your data, no subscriptions to hold it, limited storage, nothing. It's all under your control. And not only perpetual, there's no maintenance fees. There's nothing hidden. You're gonna get the updates. You're gonna do that for years to come. It is very, very cool, very, very unique. Can't stress that enough. You're looking at a SLAM scanner. Really important to look at total cost of ownership. So, a lot of these, you can get screwed on the back end with the software subscriptions. And then two, just the software and the SLAM algorithm itself. So all the hardware, all nice, fancy. Don't chop on that. Look at those two are very, very, very important for anybody. And we're not afraid to show this to you in person. Any on-site demonstration you want, put you in touch with a local to you distributor. We'll make it happen. And anybody that wants to deep dive one-on-one, you can always reach out to me at any time, and we can have a private discovery call as well. So again, panoramic images. You can make measurements off that as well, which is really, really cool. You can do some CAD work. So do some CAD work, of course, from Cube 3D software. But 24 megapixels, great solution. We have that as well. Sorry, I myself, I'll have a bit, but so we have XWiz. So put it on there. Again, we supported X5 right off the bat, X4, awesome cameras. We also have geotags, which is really cool. So if you're not using the 360 or you just want to highlight something, a colorized mobile point cloud is not going to get every little detail of everything. And so you can take photos of interest things and have them referenced in the point cloud and view them in GoPost and other softwares. So that's really cool. You name fire extinguisher. Or, there's, one example that came up recently. It was like they want to, every single door is labeled on what this room number is. So having quick access to that, really cool. And knowing more of the space you are, just anything. I mean, you name it, or signs, or just any kind of notes you want to take in the site in the middle of the scan. Only takes a second. Use the built-in internal camera. Really cool on there. You can see like from our, how you can mix XWiz, our static mode, with the SLAM. So this whole floor of a building, you're going at say 75% walking speed. The slower you go, the more dense it is. But for just algorithm overall kind of density versus speed, 75, 80, 90% of your normal walking speed. You're not walking a snail's pace. Especially outdoor with X200, you can walk at your normal pace, get great density, great results. Kind of the difference, I think the mobile, you'll see in a second, of just like a mobile only solution, but versus the XWiz. But our color is better than that photo represents. But I just the more show the difference that the XWiz really makes it pop on there. So anything that you need, um, I have the tripod mount. Needs to be mobile. Again, we talked about that our X200 solution can be flown on a DJI Matrice 300 or 350, and that can be controlled from the Go app, um, and we're tying in, getting RTK. We're getting color again on the drone with the Slam. Not going to be the same as like our solutions like the X-Fly and some other navigation-based solutions. So it's more of a complementary tool. Like I used to do it. It wouldn't be your full-fledged like drone LiDAR scanner. It would be probably like Slam handheld. The others first, and nice it can do the drone. So just the way these things work. So accessories, panoramic camera, all of them support shoulder hook. If you're doing it all day, again, like especially X40 here is less than 2 pounds. It's not, really not bad for most things, but you want the shoulder hook and you want your, tablet using, why not? They're great. It just, I want to stress that these things aren't heavy and a needed thing or, stressed out. We're not a 20-pound wearable like some of the others on the market. 70, add backpack, the tripod, a tablet holder. So, you can do it all in one. Doing on here, of course, you can use it other hand, but RCK module as well, and that straps onto there. From 120, same things, but of course, vehicle mount too, which is very, very cool. And you don't have to use GNSS with that, but vehicle and of course RTK. So reference and especially outdoor with that RTK can enhance the solution and not only reference it. If you get into not the greatest slam area, it can help keep your trajectory among other things. But let's put the GCPs and all that. We got full-fledged. So same thing with the X200. Just kind of ran out of space, but we don't need an RTK module because it's built in. The pano camera doesn't support that because it has one just as good that's built in as well. When we do the UAV mount, of course, we can also do the backpack for here too, the tablet. Oh, there's the photos. I forgot to put it in. Oh yeah, really cool as well. We can tie into our radio. So not only getting referenced on there, um, from the internet connections. I mean, there's things like Starlink and other stuff, but if you just want to run a traditional base rover, we can use our radio as well. Put that radio in your pocket, nice and light, and on there. So we have a built-in pano. You can use the other one in the future, but if you want, but say probably a little overkill. Vehicle, you're not going, again, we talked about, these things at walking speed. So on the vehicle, like, 5, 10 meters a second, 20 kilometers, 10, 15, 20 miles an hour. That's what you want to keep it under, more on the density sake. But that's based on 120, so a little faster than 200, but on there. So again, to sum things up, 40 and 70 are more indoor, 120 and 200 are more versatile indoor and outdoor solutions with more accessories. Um, we all have storage, a bunch of storage, bunch there. Our 200 has built-in RTK receiver, our XWiz better colorization mode, built-in 360-degree camera, can be flown on a drone, or scanners can be used on a vehicle. RTK tie into any kind of survey nail or target, total station or GNSS. We can get simple you know um, point clouds right off the scanners. Of course, probably want to post process for most things, but really really easy to use, and it comes with a fantastic strong SLAM algorithm that we're very proud of, and free software to boot. So that's a lot there. That's from there. We also have other solutions we'll talk about here in a moment, but just more about the accessories. Again, basically to sum it up, indoor, outdoor, more versatile, 120, 200, more indoor, or close range outdoor, are other solutions. So on there, and we're starting at $18,000 with software, end user price. So fantastic there. So which one should I use? Again, starting from the bottom there, most affordable, compact, easy to use, X40. And then if you need a little more color, want the XWiz, want the density coverage a little easier, it rotates 360, you go up to 170. If you just want more density, better native color, or you want to use it outdoors, or you want to add on a vehicle. Our 120 or 120 is our most popular solution. And then our flagship 200, so it also can be flown on a drone, a whopping 640,000 points per second, 300-meter range. So very, very cool, and built-in 360-degree camera. So very cool. We also have what's our most unique product, which is our XVS scanner here. So this is a SLAM scanner, but it is photogrammetry based, V-SLAM, visual SLAM, um, instead of LiDAR based. So we can produce a photogrammetry result. I would like to show you an example, and these examples are not, I mean, done by the manufacturer, not, anything crazy that you can achieve this kind of solution to scale. Let's see, pulling up, and we're all there. So this is done to scale. You can see our targets. You can tie it in, but look at this result. This is with the mobile solution, close range, sub 5 millimeter, sub half a centimeter. This is an awesome, awesome solution. The solution's just $15,000. It's just taking images. Um, it's not, if I would call this a complementary tool rather than a replacement for a mobile or terrestrial scanner, um, because it's more of a close range, things like this, or you need, the fact of visual slam. It can't hook on to, flat objects, things like mirrors can mess it up, blank walls, that sort of thing. You have to be, use it in a, well lit environment, like a regular LiDAR slam camera, slam scanner. You can, use an underground pitch black mine. You can use it at night. The data itself isn't affected. So this is, on there where I call it complementary. But look at this. This is crazy. Nothing to it. Walk around one time, tie in the targets to survey, control to get it to scale, and just insane. You can use this accent reconstruction. I mean, you need one facade of a building, extra color. I mean, there's a ton of uses on there for just more like seeing the slam, seeing our solutions. I did this. This was under 5 minutes from all of them. Um, all of our three slams. So on 200, I did this one last. So you'll see a little bit more of the shadow. This was done at sunset, but on there, so we're getting our curb. We're getting good curb data. Again, this is within 5 minutes, and we captured all this. This is a huge intersection, multiple houses. We got the power line um, on there. So you know, power line survey, especially with the RTK. Um, so grid solution, and then we're actually talking further than that, but compare that with our 40 solution. So again, the shadow, just with the don't show the camera, that's just because I was doing this at sunset, but you can see, just the density is a little less, color not quite as good, but still usable, great data. But you can see on the 200 data a little more crisp, but see, perfect there. But and you see we're not only getting so much that, compared to our 200, see how much more room we've gotten basically. So nice on there, but we'll go back to our presentation. And so again, vSlam killer solution. This is super unique. You can process all the images. You need to demo this. You have a mobile scanner that you're happy with another company that, you do not have an XVS though. Fantastic global shutter. Um, no distortion. I mean, for beautiful, absolutely beautiful results that are easy to achieve to scale. Um, you know, and at $15,000, very attractive. A super killer combo. If you combine this with like a 40, X40, you're under 40 grand with everything, with software, with even, Cube 3D, and you can do so much with that. And you can be crazy dangerous with two solutions more than what you were before once. So we also have a drone only, or I guess you can use this on a vehicle as well, but a navigation base. So we've talked primarily about SLAM solutions. So, but we also have a navigation based, which is pretty cool. Where this is extremely attractive product. Um, so you can, this is, not have to tie into DJI. You can use this. It does have a DJI Skyport in this image, but you can use it on, Free Fly Astro, Alta, the Whisper drones, X-Fly 300. You can use even on the little Sky Scout Whisper, Inspired Flight definitely can support. And you can do vehicle scans as well. But we're super proud of this solution. Doesn't get talked about enough. 24 megapixel there, but for drone only, systems, we have an X120 and X300. The X300 has the same sensor as the X200, um, but both having the 300 meters of range, but up to 1.9 million points a second. Great, super strong IMU. Definitely excels. Night and day difference from your entry level solutions, and this is still at an attractive price. But compared to DJI L1, L2, this is a huge player, huge component. We can compete with anybody in this class. Super there. And again, similar. Got a Sony camera with there. That's all done in fly post. This one is on an annual and perpetual base. You can buy annual of that. It is not included. But INS colored, great solution there. So, and it's all about boresight, all about the fantastic IMU. So great. You don't need strip alignment. You can do all that. Great, solution with the DJI drone. You can fly for up to 20, 25 minutes easy with the 300, but we have two solutions on there. But again, I can't stress about just Stonex as a solution. We have, we can tie in your whole survey workflow from, we talked about SLAM scanners today to unique V-SLAM scanners to drone LiDAR solutions. And that's just from the laser scanning 3D's perspective, but we have a, full-fledged GNSS lineup, total station, and all the software to boot with that. We, have an option for literally everything that you can want. But we're, and it's rapidly expanding all that machine control as well and tie in. So we have a solution for everything. So in there, we also have our own entry level TLS scanner as well. So proud of that. Just mobile scanning is, focus. That's just where the market is going, the rise. But we do have that. There's just some scenarios where you need a tripod base. So we have a great solution there. X100, very easy to use. It has self leveling, so you don't have to level it every time. Total station, awesome, great, 320,000 a second. Super killer data. Going to produce a better result um, than our mobile, but comes at the cost of any individual setups. So we have registration software. Um, that's called a reconstructor. But we have TLS. We can tie that in and work with the rest. And then we're going to go a bit into Cube 3D again. We have our presentation on Cube 3D that is on June 11th, 11 a.m. Eastern. I will be going in that. We'll be deep diving, playing around in the software. Continuing this series, that'll be on the Stonex channel. I will be posting about it later today on there, and you can see that. That'll be on there. That won't be on LinkedIn, but awesome webinar platform. But Cube 3D is our photogram. So we also have photogrammetry software. That's another thing. We're not only talking about LiDAR. We don't sell camera drones or anything, but we do have photogrammetry software that can work with any drone that you have. So we make all the models on there. We won't go too much into photogrammetry, but it's all local processed. We're not you're not paying per use. The software is a fee. You can get a perpetual license for very attractive price, but it's all local process, unlimited. There's no paid per use in the cloud. All local, all secure. But from Cube 3D and the LiDAR sector, we have classification tools, auto ground, all that layers, any kind of classification you can want, full gambit contours and such, have CAD layers, exporters DXF, any kind of profile lines, cross sections, you name it. This is a full-fledged post-processing software. Super proud of it. CAD engine. Take out another software. You can do measurements. You can do a whole bunch. Volumetric, cut or fill, manipulation tools. And this can be done with photogrammetry or LiDAR or combined. This is, you can combine laser scans on here. You can, say you had a drone scanner, tripod scanner, and a mobile, and even all three different manufacturers. You don't have to necessarily have Stonex equipment to use this software. You can work it all in there, no problem. Custom planes and the X-ray, which is really really cool. But we have killer solutions. We're at 52 and I'm trying to go to the hour. So I've talked a little bit more than I wanted. So we will rest through that again. We have the full-fledged, over hour webinar on that. 3D meshes you can make, photogrammetry, really cool, just like what we saw was made in the Cube 3D when I showed that for the XVS. But mesh break lines were Cube A survey software. You can import points from there. Um, Photogrammetry, you can work with a whole bunch of data, aerial images, videos on your cell phone, um, you know, anything, total station points, GNSS, point clouds, surfaces, images, and name it, and look, all the ways you can export it as well. So just going to leave that out for a minute, but contours, CAD, volumetric, uh, anything. I mean, this software does it all. And if you're just looking for just photo or just scanner, you don't have to buy the full-fledged pro package to get everything. You can get what's just tailored to you and upgrade over time, which is nice. We have perpetual license that you can get. You can bundle it in. We always run promos on a lower cost when you are buying the higher hardware too. But again, this is you can use any hardware you have. So, but again, photogrammetry, full-fledged solution that can compete with anybody, GCPs, classification, registrations, make the meshes, orthos, CAD, volumetric cross sections, you name it, you can get it all in there. A photos module, like I said, scanner module on the Pro gets you both. Pro is at a discounted rate. And our webinar is mainly on our new 3.1 release, but we will go over the full Q3D. But we have some new tools, we'll go over one by one, line vectorization work, 2D, just, a whole bunch of new CAD stuff that just came out in the last week or so. So a whole bunch of improvements, custom heights now. We're constantly improving that. Updates multiple times a year. So we're super there, easier contour lines. And again, we're having another presentation on the 11th. If you're liking that, we'll do it on there. But from all that we're doing, we also have partnerships with big industry players like PointCap and Abulitov. Sorry if I'm butchering that name. That's a brand new partnership as well for Stonex. But if you're purchasing our hardware, you can, if you're a fan of PointCap or this, you can get a license with that as well at a reduced rate. So that is something that's pretty cool as well. So again, from Stonex and everything, I believe that's all I have on that front. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. But that's our again name. That's Stonex. Been in business, almost 15 years. Solutions for everything that you could want from, like on the left there, we have GNSS that with dual camera solutions. You can do some photogrammetry with that as well. We have a full-fledged mobile SLAM lineup, like we've talked about throughout this hour. Tool stations, machine control, and software to boot. We have ag steering solutions, 1D, 2D, 3D, dozer, excavator. We have it all things survey on there. If anybody has any questions, we'll run on there. Let's see on there. Looks like we're dry on there. Still got people in here, but if there. We'll keep it running for a minute, but again, Cube 3D on June 11th. Check Stonex's LinkedIn to get more information on that. Post about it. I will be posting about it later today. Haven't had a chance to check out my newsletter as well. I post pretty often here on LinkedIn, a newsletter called the David Moss Report. So if you click onto my page, if you're new to me, I post a lot of great information. It's not salesy. I'm not a salesman. Again, just help with our dealers that post about what this technology can do, ways that you may not think to use it. So, keep that in mind. Again, we'll go for another minute, but I really appreciate it. Thank you all for coming. Look forward to seeing you on the 11th, and look forward to doing more scans out there and more posts. You'll see more with X200. And I really need to do, I can't stress how cool this XVS is. Need to do it justice on our RV Slam, get the best mobile output you've ever seen. So again, David Moss, Stonex, proud survey with dealers all across the United States and Canada and the world. If you want to get in touch, you can message me here on LinkedIn. We can have any kind of private discussion, and then send you out to a dealer way to get an on-site demonstration. But we're really proud. And again, the Slam focus of the day really growing. We have an awesome, very competitive solution at an even better price. So again, David Moss, appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you guys on the 11th.